Hey NAIOP community, this is Danny Rice with Colliers International, again your NAIOP Central Florida Communications Chair member. Sitting here today to continue on our Past President series for NAIOP Central Florida, and I've got Gary Kreisler with me today, who is our 1997 Past President of the NAIOP Central Florida chapter. Excited to have you here today to talk about your time, obviously with the NAIOP board and your presidency. So how are you?
Great, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So we were kind of catching up a little bit, talking about your time. So let's go back to 1997. What ultimately got you involved in NAIOP?
Well, I've always wanted to give back to industry, and so as working for a contractor, there's opportunities to do that, be able to interact with your competitors, your owners, and your suppliers and vendors. So it was kind of a natural after I had run through the ranks with Associated Builders and Contractors. Right. Being part of Orlando's community and development community, it was obvious that NAIOP was really a happening thing, and so at the same time I was starting to participate in NAIOP events. Yep. So I spent a lot of time putting together golf tournaments and teams.
Now there's some interesting stories though behind that, right?
Well, there were fun times. There were fun times. A mutual friend of ours, Jamie Barati, yep, who had an experience working with the folks up at Hammock Dunes, connected us with the private club up there to be able to really step up the game for golf tournaments. Maybe Hammock Dunes might regret that at this point, but we're not allowed back, let's just say that. But we had a blast in those days, and so to be able to differentiate ourselves from other golf fundraisers that were going on. We all got together. It was Trevor, Damien, myself, many others that were on the board at the time, and that were golfers, either good or bad. And said, well, let's use Jamie's connection and go up to Hammock Dunes.
Jamie's regretting that probably.
Well, he probably forgets. He's so old now. He might not even remember. But so it was a ride. And of course, we're not just serving milk and cookies at golf tournaments, so we needed to be able to safely get folks up and back. Hired these, top shelf European buses, and so stocked it with breakfast, lunch, beverages of all choices, and it was a blast. It really was. One of the real fun things that came out of that was when we were staging the bus, we had to find a place where somebody would let us park,
of course,
start our excursion, and so somebody connected us with a developer in Altamont, and I just remember pre-gaming in that parking lot with a bunch of excited guys that all of a sudden decided, one of the guys' name was John, another Brian, and
we'll leave the last names out of it.
Damien, there's so many Damiens, that and they started deciding who could hit the ball off the grass median in the parking lot farther onto the roof of the mall we were parked at. So that's how we started.
So we're sitting in Winter Garden. Obviously there's some history here for you guys, and talk to me about the City Hall, which we're in front of. I think you guys had some sort of construction or play into this and developed this, or what if you look around here, Winter Garden obviously it's grown a lot. Orlando's grown a lot as well. Tell me a little bit about why are we here? What's important to you here?
Back in the 90s, the city of Winter Garden was just starting to get hot, and they wanted to put a real statement into their City Hall. I just happened to be on lead the winning team for the design and building of this.
Yep.
Winter Garden has continued to become amazing, and our firm Clancy & Thays has moved back into Winter Garden, so we've just signed a 10-year lease, and we're here in town.
What's next for you?
I'm having a lot of fun doing what I'm doing, and making some reconnections back in some things like NAIOP, and what's great is so many friends are still in it, because they see the value.
The community.
That's right. Clancy & Thays is also, a strong believer in NAIOP. We're a Platinum Annual Partner, and we plan on continuing that. The relationships are where it's all at. And
if you could look at your younger self when you're getting into this industry, what would you tell yourself or new people getting into the industry today?
It's all about face-to-face with people. It's all about making those relationships. Right. I see with my five adult kids that they're still, distracted by social media, and the kind of connections they make are a lot different than when I was younger, and I'd like to go back, to that.
Right.
And so a lot of how I do business and make friends and new relationships is one-on-one. So, and getting involved is a great way to do that.
Absolutely.
And surrounding yourself with optimistic, positive people that are going places. And NAIOP has always been that. You just never know who you're going to meet and when.
Yep.
And
even us. I mean, we compared notes,
That's
UCF
right.
grads together.
That's right. We both like blue blazers.
Exactly. And we look good in them too.
That's true.
So.
Well, we'll wait and see what the public opinion says. But
we'll do a vote
we both
afterwards.
think we look
Absolutely.
good, so that's all that matters, right?
A couple fun questions.
Okay.
Let's start with a simple one. Are you a beer or a liquor drinker?
Ooh. Well, both.
Even better.
I'm not very sophisticated when it comes to the beer. My kids keep trying to get me into the craft brew, and there's a few I like.
But you're above a Natty Light.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
Bud Light is not that far though. But I've since taken on a interest in whiskey.
Yeah.
So my cabinet now has a bunch of different selections. So maybe you come over if you're interested.
I think I might have to.
Yeah. So a slower drink, big square ice cube. Taking it easy.
What's your favorite pizza topping?
I have to go with my wife because she's the
Good
one
man.
that I have to please. So, we do a vegetarian pizza, lots of veggies. I make sure that at least there's some meatballs on it so that I get covered. The meat eater in me
Right,
gets
you get
taken
the half
care
for
of.
you.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
perfect.
right.
Favorite or the furthest destination or the most interesting place you ever traveled?
Yeah. Well, both of those are the same.
Beautiful.
I was fortunate enough in my life to probably visit, I think, 47 or 48 states.
Wow.
But the farthest and most interesting was about 3 years ago. We went on a mission trip to Kazakhstan with our church, and that was really cool. So,
That sounds awesome.
We sponsor an orphanage over there, and
How long were you there for?
we were there for 8 days. Visiting, a former Soviet country that's growing, but still having huge social issues and related to orphans, So that was a really interesting trip.
That sounds
the
like
food was terrible. A lot of potatoes and very little meat. Very little flavor.
Right.
But
very self-satisfying in terms of what you were able to accomplish.
Well, it was amazing because God's love is everywhere, and when you want to bring that forward, you're going to be welcome and make friends no matter where you are, whether you speak the language or not. So that was
sounds
great.
like a good trip.
It was.
Well, thank you. This was great.
All right.
It was awesome to be able to
meet you.
catch up with you. And NAIOP community as well. We're going to continue on our series here. We've got a couple more past presidents that we're going to interview. But thank you, Gary, for the time today. And also thank you for being a past president of NAIOP and influencing, obviously, what we are today. And thank you for being an annual sponsor or a partner.
Yeah.
We're excited to have you guys be a part of that and continue to support NAIOP.
Well, I look forward to you being a president of NAIOP.
Absolutely, that's the goal. I mean,
right.
when you start out, you got to start out somewhere, and you start working your way up. And NAIOP's been very, very blessed to have them around for me as well. And so we'll continue on.
Best wishes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.